Hello and welcome. I don't greet. So I put out that poll and the long-standing winner was technique, how to perfect your technique. The other two weren't too far behind. Everything was actually pretty close, so I will be doing a video on all of those. But today, I will give you 3 steps to flawless technique. I know what you're thinking, like 3? Like that's not a lot. Like flute is hard, technique is hard. There's 3 steps? Yeah, but there's a lot in those 3 steps, and they take a lot of time to do, but it really is that simple. It's just, I've found that like the idea of this is simple, but like executing it is more difficult. But yeah, these are just 3 things that have worked for me. They may not work for you, but they've been really helpful for me. And why I've been so hesitant on like sharing any tips is because I don't want people to be like, I've tried that and it didn't work at all. Like, okay, like we all have different brains, so that's what makes making music so great is the differences, because then everything's gonna be sounding different, and yeah, so that's great. Find something else that works for you. But these are just 3 tips that work for me. Also, look at my earrings. I love them. So, tip number 1 is to play slowly. And I know you've heard this before, but I mean play so slow, like so slow. But while you're playing slow, you're not just going on autopilot. You're focusing on every note and making sure that every note sounds good, has a good tone, has good vibrancy. And also while you're doing this, you're phrasing, you're making sense of all these notes and figuring out what each note's purpose is. So I want to demonstrate this with a piece that I haven't decided yet. I think I'm going to demonstrate these tips with a little part of Paganini Caprice number 4, because I'm working on that for my lesson this week, and I love this caprice. So I am here, and I have my tonal energy tuner metronome set at 20. It's the quarter note, and this is in 30-second notes. So this is just a little part of the Paganini Caprice number 4. Playing really slow, trying to focus on every single note and phrasing through. This part is mostly tongue. There's a few little slurred. So when it's tongued and just, when it's even slurred too, just bringing the air through. Next step after that is to gradually go up in your tempo. You can go up by, I'd say gradually, like 5 or 10, and even 10 is kind of a lot depending on what you're playing. So I'm not going to demonstrate that because it takes a while, but the key is to try to play it the exact same way you played it on the previous tempo marking. And don't go to the next marking until you have the first one really down. After you work your way up to the gold tempo, I find it really helpful to work your way back down to your starting tempo. And for this, I don't usually go like by 5 or 10. I'll usually go by like 20, and because it's just faster. But this kind of like seals the deal and relaxes, I feel like, because for me, technically, everything can feel kind of like hectic, and this kind of practice just slows everything down and really lets you focus. And by going back down, you're kind of re reinforcing that this is the phrase, this is how it goes. I'm just going to play it the exact same way, just a little bit faster. Step number 2 goes with step number 1, and it is the idea of finding grounding notes. These notes can either be, they don't have to make sense musically, but they usually do. As in, like, in a phrase, and all the notes are all the rhythm's the same, but there's still a musical phrase, because there's still usually a musical phrase. So just pick like 1 or 2 notes that you're gonna just mentally reset on. You don't have to do anything musically if you don't want to. But I would usually like add a little tenuto, but not really do the tenuto. Just feel like you're doing the tenuto, if that makes sense. And the brain just kind of gets a chance to catch up to your fingers. As I was saying, for me, seeing all the notes on the page can be kind of overwhelming and kind of like, I don't know what's coming next, and just hard to like focus, I guess. So with grounding notes, you are choosing a spot to let your brain kind of reset. And a way you can practice this is when you're practicing the phrase really slow and really fast, you can actually stop on these notes and actually let your brain reset. So I will do that demonstration with the same little excerpt from the Paganini Caprice, number 4. So that excerpt is a little weird to do the grounding notes on because there's really not that many, but hopefully you could tell where I was trying to ground and bring out the melody. The last step for flawless technique is trying different rhythms, articulations, and playing it backwards. So this is another kind of seal the deal kind of thing. Like, you know how it goes. If your fingers still aren't cooperating after playing it slow and doing all that, you got to make it harder. And this kind of makes it harder and makes you kind of have to think a little bit more, especially the playing backwards kind of thing. So with this exercise, if you have 16th notes, you would play dotted, and then the dotted, I will demonstrate. And you can also do triplets within the 16 notes. And if you have triplets, you hold the first triplet, go through, hold the second triplet, go through, hold the third triplet, go through. You can play it at 16th notes. There's so many ways to differ the rhythm. I love doing this. And with articulations, if it's tongued, slur it all. If it's slurred, tongue it all. And slur to, tongue to, slur to. Really, anything goes. Anything that is hard, make it harder. And then if you master that, you go back to play what's really written. It'll feel so much easier. So I will do some different rhythms with this Paganini Caprice number 4. probably hear some of those rhythms in some spots were more accurate than others, and that's just because I need to work on it. Yeah, your goal is to make them all even and sound like the actual rhythm. And you can do this as you go up, as you go down. In any articulation, I just chose to slur all because I want to focus on making my air go through the instrument. But yeah, it's really up to you what kind of rhythm you want to do, what kind of articulation you want to do. You could even take two bowls and put all different articulations in one, all different rhythms in the other, and choose one from each. There's probably an app for that. I mean, I would rather have an app, but that would be really cool. I actually am gonna look that up after this because that would be really cool. Because it's just like thrown at you at once and you just gotta do it. The goal with this is to really solidify, I don't know if that's the right word, to lock in place your fingers on difficult passages. Those are 3 quick and, well, not quick and not easy. So I guess they're just 3 steps to developing your technique. As you can tell, it's not really, well, it's not easy, but the idea is not difficult to comprehend. It's just about putting the time in. It takes time. It takes a lot of time to develop. But if you do these things for any passage that may be difficult for you, it will help a lot. And another thing that helps are daily exercises, which I plan to talk about in a different video. But those are kind of, you do the same kind of things. At least I do. I don't know if other people do. But it's been really helpful for me to do these 3 things on pretty much every technical passage I've come across. And I use technical as kind of like, I don't want to use that word because I want to use musical. I don't think there's 2 aspects to music as technical and lyrical. I think it's really more, I think they're together, they're combined, and you shouldn't really separate the 2. So the main idea of this is to make sure you're playing musically through all your technical passages. If you play everything musically, I find the technique will become easier too, because you're not focused on the technical aspect of where your fingers are moving, how they're moving. Instead, you're just focused on the music, how you want the music to flow, how you want the music to sound, and it all just becomes a lot more cohesive and a lot easier for you to play and a lot easier for the listener to understand. So, thank you for watching my video, if you did. If you didn't, go back and watch it. Be sure to comment and let me know if any of these tips were helpful for you, or if you've heard any of these tips, or if you have any other suggestions of things that have helped you strengthen your technique. Yeah, thanks for watching. Have a good day. I don't salutation either. I don't know. I'm just a get to the point kind of person, and then... Okay, bye.